Deleted session, January 8, 1979. Now, it is fruitless to go back to old sessions seeking to find out what is wrong, or what was wrong and self-defeating. It is an excellent idea to look at old sessions with a view toward picking up suggestions that I have given for constructive action and following them. Some things are simply difficult for me to explain, and for you to understand. The ideas of your society often make certain ideas invisible to you, though they are given in black and white. I use terms like the overly conscientious self to help you, and then, of course, you want to know why it does not know when to stop in overly protective devices. It simply represents certain attitudes and beliefs that you possess. They mix and merge with your other beliefs and ideas, and color your actions. When I speak so, I am isolating a certain portion of your subjective reality and labeling it for convenience. It never really goes against your wishes. If Ruber's main goals in work, for example, had directly involved and mainly concerned immediate contact with others, through university work or whatever, his mobility would not have been tampered with. Many needs were simply made by the physical condition. A lack of understanding is behind the issue, of course, but the spontaneous self was also taken into consideration, so that inner mobility, the acceleration of ideas and experience, was allowed for. Some dampers were put there also, but not because one part of the self conspired against another part. It was a give and take situation, protection being used where it was felt it was needed. You had a strong drive to use abilities and not usual ones, where rules of conduct or professionalism were outlined. Because of both of your attitudes, you felt that a method should be cautionary. You were saddled with the usual beliefs of your times, and yet trying to understand new ones. The ideas I have tried to give you, outlined, say, in the New Year resolutions, have not yet gotten through to you. Ruber's codicils represented a point of intuitional understanding, but he has not caught up to them in practical living. When you disapprove of yourselves, for example, again you rob yourselves of comforts meant to support you. The psychiatrist later noted Dr. Beers. Suicide represents but one communication, but many others read the material and use it, and do not write you, any more than you write to other authors. And again, a book may sell in the millions and still go in one mental ear and out the other, while all books literally do change lives, and to that extent the world for the better. A man who makes shoes may see his customers, but he will not know what roles his customers walk in his shoes. And you cannot know the mental and psychic changes for the better that the books are making in parents and their children. When you disapprove of yourselves, such factors escape you entirely, or become lost in other worries. You must remember also that greater context in which you live. When you do this, you can indeed see overall purpose of your life. But you cannot do so until you approve of yourself and recognize that you as an individual are unique and uniquely a part of all reality. You have been taught that so many of your attitudes are unconscious that this prevents you often from consciously putting together a picture of your conscious beliefs. Again, they appear invisible. Give us a moment. You must always remember that the self is not static, but a living gestalt of experience. It is best not to say, for example, I have always been thus and so, or whatever, and still better not to identify yourself with any characteristics that you deplore. Your purpose is in what you are, and when you do not approve of what you are, you cannot see it. You can then, as I have said, lose sight of your own grace, but you cannot fall out of grace. It will help you both considerably if when you have the feeling of self-approval reality, to sit quietly and try to feel your purposes. Think, however, of feeling, for this is your best clue, and it will bring you some answers. To paint pictures or write books is only the topmost cover for a life's purpose, for the paintings or the books contain the purpose, but are not the purpose itself. The meaning is within the paintings, but the paintings are not the meaning. I have a suggestion, and it is that you mentally speak to what I will call the basic creative self. And remember, these are terms. That self is a portion of your being that creates all characteristics, and that can therefore help unify them. It is also the framework to self, but the word creative is more potent for the two of you to use. It knows of its innate goodness. Now, these are psychological manipulations, but manipulations that work. You must also realize that I must deal with you as you think you are, that is, with both of you, and for that matter with the world at large. In my greater viewpoint, I see your lives, many of them, and the emergence of overall patterns of achievement and challenge, and I hope that you will progress to your own visions of such realities, at least in dreams, for they will sustain you. Robert is near a breakthrough, but that is all I will say on that. Indirectly, I have answered several of your questions. Do you have any you want to put to me? Rab asked, why has he waited so long to resume work on mass reality? She said, the answer to that is simple. You both insist upon applying quite intellectual concepts to creative work and ignoring Rupert's natural rhythms. He works in great bursts of activity, but instead of understanding this and trusting the quiet periods and the creative self, he is up in arms. The creative self is playful and spontaneous. It follows his natural rhythms. The fear of not producing, however, can inhibit his productivity and wear him out with worry. I suggest that each day he write what comes to mind for a while, for this next book is here as surely as the past ones are. End of station. Make up a new list of questions for the next station if you want, and I will answer them in my own way. A fond good evening. Ralph said, okay, thank you. She said, P.S. In those old stations, filed away, there is also material in which I stressed the importance of making love. Your experience last night reminded me. In love-making, when you forget yourself to some extent, spontaneity is also aroused, and the healing process brought into play through the touch of hand and caresses. It is the most therapeutic of practices. In all cases, it reassures both individuals in the basic worth of the self. It increases all healing functions, and despite churchly tales to the contrary, it regenerates and inspires the creative abilities. Now, end of station. Rob noted I raised a hand before Seth could slip away. How about his dream last night? Did he remember enough of it to interpret it correctly? Jane has written an account of her dream. It concerned fern crows, among other things, and she has been getting flashes of understanding about it throughout the day. They said Rupert did an excellent job with that, and the dream also shows that so-called unconscious material will come to the surface of the mind when it is recreated. Those beliefs, however, were not really unconscious at all. His interpretation was correct. Rob said he has been trying to recall the identity of a certain individual in a dream, but can't quite get it. They said I believe it was Richard Wilnitzky. Follow my suggestions. Rob said, okay, good night.